Is it harmful to breathe 100% oxygen? We breathe air that is 21% oxygen, and we require oxygen to live. So you might think that breathing 100% oxygen would be good for us, but actually it can be harmful. So, the short answer is, pure oxygen is generally bad, and sometimes toxic. To understand why, you need to go into some detail. Your lungs are basically a long series of tubes that branch out from your nose and mouth from trachea to bronchi to bronchioles and end in little thin-walled air sacs called old alveoli. Think of soap bubbles on the end of a straw, and you'll understand alveoli. Surrounding each alveolus are small, thin-walled blood vessels, called pulmonary capillaries. Between the capillaries and the alveolus is a thin wall about 0.5 microns thick through which various gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen pass.
Hi, I'm Marshall Brain with today's question. Is it harmful to breathe 100% oxygen? You'd think, since we need oxygen to live, that it would be okay to breathe 100% oxygen. And it is okay for an hour maybe, but if you breathe 100% oxygen for more than an hour, it starts to cause big problems. So the short answer is pure oxygen is generally bad and sometimes toxic. To understand why, you need to go a little deeper. Your lungs are basically a long series of tubes that branch out from your nose and mouth and end in little thin-walled air sacs called alveoli. Think of soap bubbles on the end of a straw and you'll understand alveoli. Surrounding each alveolus are small, thin-walled blood vessels called pulmonary capillaries. Between the capillaries and the alveolus is a thin wall about 0.5 microns thick, through which various gases, in our case oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen, can pass. When you inhale, the alveoli fill with this air. Because the oxygen concentration is high in the alveoli and low in the blood entering the pulmonary capillaries, oxygen diffuses from the air into the blood. Likewise, because the concentration of carbon dioxide is higher in the blood that's entering the capillaries than it is in the alveolar air, carbon dioxide passes from the blood to the alveoli. The nitrogen concentration in the blood and in the alveolar air is about the same. The gases exchange across the alveolar wall, and the air inside the alveoli becomes depleted of oxygen and rich in carbon dioxide. When you exhale, you breathe out this carbon dioxide-enriched, oxygen-poor air. Now, what would happen if you breathed 100% oxygen? In guinea pigs exposed to 100% oxygen at normal air pressure for 48 hours, fluid accumulates in their lungs and epithelial cells lining the alveoli. In addition, the pulmonary capillaries get damaged. A highly reactive form of oxygen called the oxygen-free radical, which destroys proteins and membranes in the epithelial cells, probably causes this damage. In humans breathing 100% oxygen at normal pressure, the same kind of thing happens. First, fluid accumulates in the lungs. That causes the gas flow across the alveoli to slow down, meaning that the person has to breathe more to get enough oxygen. Then mucus starts to plug up local areas of collapsed alveoli. The oxygen trapped inside these plugged alveoli gets absorbed into the blood, and no gas is left to keep the plugged alveoli inflated, so they collapse. Mucus plugs are normal, but they're cleared by coughing, but coughing doesn't work when the alveoli have collapsed. If alveoli become plugged when breathing normal air, the nitrogen trapped inside the alveoli keeps them inflated and prevents this clogging from happening. The astronauts in the Gemini and Apollo programs breathed 100% oxygen for up to 2 weeks with no problems. So what was going on there? That's because the pressure inside the capsule was reduced. Today, astronauts who are using spacesuits are breathing pure oxygen as well, but the pressure inside their suits is also reduced to improve mobility.
Do you have any ideas or suggestions for this podcast? If so, please send